finale of this amazing Millennial versus Gen Z series. I think we couldn't have asked for a more dramatic finale. We have literally 1 point separating the Gen Zs and the Millennials. That's how the two teams have been segregated. And believe me, you guys are in for probably one of the most intense, one of the most epic, and if not, probably one of the most hard-fought battles that we're going to see. And I'm definitely looking forward to this one. So stay tuned, guys, as we are pretty much on the cusp of going live with Quali as the admins decide. So let me just ensure everything's in place till then. I think benchmark 140.9 that we'll probably see, we'll find out as yes, I have exited my cars, but clearly a little bit of banter going on. All the guys making the last second changes to their cars. Some of the guys, as you know, said, oh, Modi guarantee, just about punting, and that's been caught on stream there. So a little bit of argy-bargy action taking place as we are pretty much set to go live with Quali. So let me just ensure we've got everything in place once again. Seems like Duki's still on the hards and Vishal's on the mediums, but everyone, okay, so yeah, I think the guys are gonna change their tires real soon. So let's just go with our race winner from the last race, which is the Ancient Pleb. A pretty interesting combination, I must say, that we've got these highly super fast, you know, with crazy downforce, these vehicles, as there's a bit of a battle already brewing up between Modi Guarantee and Hoshis. This will not be good for their tires, but yeah, they would want to be a little careful with that. But yeah, I think this particular combination will be a lot of fun to drive, because it's a track that if you master it, then probably requires minimal braking inputs except for the hairpins, and you can absolutely go flat out for most of the sections. And for the guys who love these kind of setups, I think they're going to be in for a treat. And one of them is this fellow right here, which is Hershey. He's an extremely fast guy with these particular combinations, so he will definitely be one of those to watch out for. He's pretty much leading it for the Gen Zs out there. And likewise, we've got the Ancient Pleb over here, who will be definitely a threat, and a lot of the Millenials will be banking on Pleb today to ensure that he really gets the results for the team altogether, as all of them pretty much round up their outlaps. We've got Vijit, who had a fantastic result as well, so they're all slowing down now to ensure that there's a decent amount of gap between them and the guys ahead, because these cars do not do well in the dirty, as Vishal's coming in charging. So we've got our first set of flyers kicking in now, so let's just be with Hershey's at this point. I think we get a benchmark indication of what kind of sector times are we looking at. This particular circuit though, Lago Maggiore or Maggiore, forgive me for my pronunciation, I've always considered it as Maggiore, but I've heard a few people say Maggiore, is indeed a fictitious circuit at the end of the day. So 29.4 for Hershey's. Where does Pleb go? 29.6, so he's definitely off. 29.8 for Vijit. So it seems like Hershey's on a bit of a charge here, and he definitely has a bit of an advantage. So let's just keep our comparisons between Hershey's and Pleb at this point, because they're the ones who got out first and have been pretty much leading it for their individual team. So 53.7. Where Pleb's picked up a penalty. No, that's Vijit. So where's Pleb? Okay, something's happened to Pleb. I think he's backed off. So where's full Modi? It's about 2.5 seconds. So, and that traffic behind will just not be happy with all this action going on. So let's just be here with Hershey. Apologies for that. As we're with Hershey's, as we've seen that the first set of flyers will be showing that Rahul setting up a really blistering fast lap of a 140.8. Now, where are the others? We've got Hershey's who set up a 141. As a bit of action flashes up in P3, Askas in P4, Advanced in P5. So, yeah, I think we're just pretty much at the halfway stage of this epic qualification of the finale at this point. So, with the way the action's going, interesting that the likes of Dukhi and Modi Guarantee, okay, so they're on the outlaps. Dukhi's on a flyer, bit of a lag there for him. Where's the ancient pleb? First sector kicking in. Okay, so he's pretty much matching Hershey's, but that ideally wouldn't be the benchmark that he's going to be at. So we're going to fluctuate between Dukhi and Pleb here. So as Dukhi is about to enter his, or rather register his second fastest lap, let's see where Pleb is. So Pleb with a 53.8, pretty much going even Steven with Hershey's at this point, and Rahul definitely setting in a very strong benchmark. Let's just jump back to Dukhi at this point. Where does this land Dukhi? Abdus setting up a 141, not good enough to be able to like battle for the lead there. Now Dukhi slightly having an understeering moment, and he jumps into the pits. So these guys simply burning fuel, and I think they've realized that probably that's the best way to go about it. So I think we still have some benchmarks, but we definitely don't have the best performances yet. Now, Pleb pretty much entering his lap. It looks good, but is it good enough? Oh, just about. So, Pleb showing his pace there. Now, he will not be happy with the traffic in front of Dukhi. Very sensibly moves out of the way. But Dukhi will also be having an advantage with those fresh set of tires. We've got Rahul who's on an outlap. We've got Hershey's who's on an outlap as well. What about Flash? Now, what can Flash do? Can he improve? Yes, he does. That's a pretty strong sector time there, I must say. That's actually good enough for P1. So let's just be with Flash for a moment and see what can he pull off at this point. So pretty interesting grid order at this point, I must say. And it definitely seems like there's going to be a lot more fluctuations coming in. So as he still about maintains that, but he's about a tenth off now of Pleb. So provisional maybe P3 at this point, as long as Hershey's decides to maybe pull in a faster lap, which you can expect out of him. So we've got Flash here, who's sort of putting in a good lap. We've got Vijay, who's still not improved, as Flash definitely improving his sector there. Modi Guarantee moves up to P4. So still, I'd like to be here with Flash for a second, for a bit, just to ensure, just to get an idea that if there's any form of evolution with the track in terms of tires and depleting fuels. Of course, there's no track evolution in this game as such, but with that toe, he will be liking that. Yes, and that toe definitely helping him as he jumps. The engine there for P2. Now we are here with Rahul, who's also got a toe, but he will not be liking the fact that he's behind qualified. I think his downforce will be compromised on in that sort of toe, and all that dirty air will upset his entries into the corners more than anything. As Flash enters the pit, so he might just probably go for one more shootout. What about Pleb? Pleb's also just started his flyer. So let's just be here with Rahul. Where's Hershey's at this point? As Hershey's is about to finish his lap. So let's just be here with Hershey's. We've not had a chance to look at his sector times, but he definitely isn't really putting in a strong lap. So he's off the pace. Now maybe this last sector, even if he can manage to pull off something, probably might get a jump on Advancify. But let's just go back to Rahul, who also has pretty much managed to clear the grid. But it's still, so it seems like he's lost a bit of time here, and you can clearly see, so he's decided to sort of build on a gap, as Hershey's not improving by a big margin there. Let's just be here with Pleb, and then I'd like to jump onto Duki. Now Pleb has some traffic in front of him, might probably pick up a bit of a toe. This will be close. This will be really close. Pleb might just get the opportunity to pull off one more fast lap from the looks of it. That is provided the race directors have kept a good enough margin for qualifying. Now Pleb will pick up a toe, but again the entries into the corners will not help him. As Pleb, look at that, you can see that definitely the draft has helped him there, and he's now clocked in a purple and picked up a very good sector. Pleb could be on to provisional P1 here as long as he can keep it clean. Just this one final set of corner to go, slightly tricky one to just downshift to fourth, maintain it, and then boom, on the power right there. Now will Pleb snatch P1 as Modi Gandhi is spin off? And yes, he does. Look at that, just by about 400. So we were Rahul, who's also on a flyer at this point. Where's Flash? Flash could not improve, so Flash is backed off. I'm not sure the race directors will be happy with the fact that the guys have parked their cars on the grid. What about Hershey's, who's also on a flyer? Now is Hershey's going to improve as he's coming onto the last bit of the section, going a bit wide now? This will not help Hershey's, but we know he can pull off something or the other. Let's see, again using as much of the track as he can. Has he done enough there? Just about to get P4. So Pleb holding on to P1 at this point. I'd like to keep my eyes on Rahul. Yes, there is Rahul. He's also adding a bit of a moment there. Car just about unsettled. Now, will we see any more grid positions? Rahul is doing as much as he can, just about keeping it within the track limits. Askas improving to P7. Rahul, can he do something? No. So Pleb holds on to P1. Rahul in P2. Flash in P3. Hershey's in P4. We've got Advancify in P5, who is also on a flyer. Let's just be with Advancify at this point. Can he do something? Just off his pace. Just about 100th. Now can Advancify, we all know he is a fast lad, and you definitely don't want to discount this fellow for anything. Just going a little wide. Now all of these bits won't really affect his pace too much, maximizing and using as much width as he can with that entry. Duki just about making it to 9, and no, Advancify does not improve. So Modi guarantees in P6, Askas in P7, Abdus in P8, Codified in P9, we got Vishal in P10, Duki in P11, surprisingly, and Vijit in P12. So yes, that is the grid order, my friends, and I think Plebs put himself in the best possible position, knowing that the gap between the Millennials and the Gen Z is just 1 point. The Gen Z leading by simply 1 point. So this is going to be absolutely nail biting, and it's going to be as close as it can get. So stay tuned, folks, as qualifyings come to an end. We will soon find out what the race results are going to be like. So as the grid sort of pretty much coasts, and the guys heading in for their in laps. Wow, that was an epic qualifying there. I might want to say, some of the guys in the comments are pointing out about Modi's livery, and I'd like to just take this moment to admire this very unique mustard yellowish Paulson shade, I must say, rather color shifting color scheme with the yellows and the greens, or is it probably because of the shadows? But that's a beautiful livery. So there you go, we've got the results. You've got the Ancient Pleb in P1, Rahul in P2, Flash in P3, Hoshi's in P4, Advancify in P5, Modi Guarantee in P6, Askas in P7, Abdus in P8, Codified, Vishal, Duki and Vijit completing the top 12. So this was simply epic in terms of qualifying. I mean, you can see the gap between the top three, just hardly 2/10 splitting them, and then you've got another 3/10 of a gap between Hoshi's and Flash. And again, if you go to see right from P4 to P8 are just separated by about 3/10 there. So it's close, it's definitely close. The fact that the top 8 are well within a second of each other, I think would be simply an insight in terms of what the races are going to be like. So stay tuned. as we will soon see the races get initiated. This finale separated by 1 point. I don't think you could have asked for anything better for this, as I'd like to know from you guys, in who do you guys think will be our top three? Who do you guys think that will be the winning category? Because in this particular format, interestingly, it is not an individual, it's actually a team effort. So it's not like an ancient pleb is going to win the championship, or a Hershey's is going to win the championship. The fact that it's going to be either the Gen Z that are going to win it, or the Millennials that are going to win it. And of course, it's going to go down to the teams at the end of the day. So this is a wonderful format, and I must congratulate Galaxy and Inch for pulling off this one-of-a-kind concept of having a battle between the Millennials and Gen Z. And I think for the future of this sport, it's really encouraging, especially with keeping in mind the fact that the Indian sim racing community has been growing, and the fact that the Gen Zs have managed to actually lead by a point going into the final race. So the future is definitely in good hands for all those who expected that the Millennials would simply dominate the Gen Z based on their experience. I think they've completely been proven wrong at this point. So it's really refreshing to see that, and yeah, I think I'm really keen on finding out. I'd like to know from you guys, who do you guys think, who would you bet your money on? Will it be the ancient pleb who will have P1, or will Rahul probably pull off something and jump pleb? Or are we looking at a completely unlikely winner? Will Dukhi Atma be able to pull off an absolute stunner that we've seen him do in the past, where he's managed to jump the entire grid and come up with something radical and go on to win? Or are we going to see the likes of a completely new winner? Are we going to see a 14-year-old Abdus go ahead and win this race? I think personally there's just too many possibilities and too many outcomes that we can expect. I would definitely not narrow it down onto one particular racer at this point. Yes, this particular circuit, this particular combination, in fact, really demands that you be extra careful with your tires, because the tire wear is high, as we can see out here. I'd like to take you guys through the conditions real quick. So we've got a 3x tire and a 3x fuel consumption rate. So it seems like the racers will want to be a little more cautious, with the mandatory pit stop also coming into play. So yes, there you go. The race directors have decided that it's time for the race, so I shall not really bug you guys too much now with my words. And 5 seconds to go until we have probably one of the most epic races. Stay tuned, guys. 18 laps of fierce action is coming your way right now. Will it be the Gen Zs? Will it be the Millennials? We're going to find out right in this very moment. Let me just quickly set it up. Let's just be here with pleb. Let's have an eye on this view. Let's keep bumper cam so that we have an eye and we can check the guys at the back as well. All the lights are now, and we have go for the final race. It seems good. Advancement has got a good launch here with Rahul side by side thinking about it, but pleb in the inside line will be able to hold it now. Rahul thinking about giving a nudge, compromising his entry. I think we've got decent action taking place. Abdus has managed to make a few positions up. Pleb is immediately under the attack there from Rahul. So the clean air should help him. Cold tires, but look at that. Rahul's really going for it. Rahul's made a move here, and Rahul's sending it down the inside, and he might just get P1. I think he might now. Will Pleb lose 2 positions? He just might. Will he lose 3 positions in the mix? No, he does not. So 2 positions being lost by Pleb, and he's back on the attack. So maybe it's a case of tires and Flash thinking about making a move down the inside. So Pleb's down to P2 and Rahul immediately escaping. So it definitely seems like a different set of strategies in terms of tires. Advanced 5 with that good jump has managed to jump. Modi Kennedy is moved back up to P6, sorry. Abdus is in P7. Immediate under attack from Vishal. Now will Vishal decide to send it 3 ways? Oh, Abdus might just get sandwiched here. Abdus pushing Askas right, but losing another position as Who's that? Vishal's gone off. Oh, that's not good for him. He made such a good move and he's lost that. Now, Qualified making room there. So, Qualified giving those positions back definitely seems something which was unfair. Let's just look at what happened here with Qualified. Why is it that he decided to give those positions back? As we've got eyes here on Qualified. Now, did he nudge someone? I don't think so. It seems like everything was clean out here. Oh, just a bit of a nudge there, but it just seems fair to me. But I'm a little confused at this point. They're well within the toe of each other, and it seems like there's no action. Now, has he managed to nudge someone? Oh, okay. So he pushed Vishal. That's the reason why. Fair play by Qualified there to pull that off. So it saves a bit of a headache. Now, Duki is down in P10. What's happening up front? We got Rahul. I'm so sorry for that. Rahul's now immediately under the attack from Hershey's as Plebs fallen well behind here. What's happened here? Oh, that's the reason why. Alright, so I think in the longer scheme of things, now Hershey's here. We're going to make a move as Hershey's conveniently takes P1, going down the outside, breaking late onto the chicane and keeping it clean. Now will Rahul decide to jump back with that particular toe? It seems not, though there's the same sort of tires, but like I mentioned earlier, in terms of downforce, it can be pretty relentless. Now Rahul's also under the attack from Flash. Rahul just sort of giving Flash the hint, hey bro, the inside line's mine, as they keep it clean. Let's just look at what happened with Hershey's there. It was a fantastic move. So Hershey's coming on to the hairpin here, keeps it clean but gets a fairly better exit, slight kiss there on the back and immediately jumps into the lead, breaks that slight bit later and secures P1. Fantastic move there by Hershey's, who's now immediately under attack. So while the top three battle it out, I think this will help the guys at the back as well. Now Hershey's will have to do everything he can to ensure that he's being able to hold on to that lead. What's happening further back as Rahul, she's clocking in a fast lap there of a 142 point. So again there's action brewing up and Askas and Abdus. Now will Abdus decide to brake late? Probably not a good idea. Decides to brake really late. Will want to keep onto the inside line. Taps in. Oh, there's some action that's happened here behind as well. Qualified picking up another penalty. Duki will probably want to make the most of this as Vishal also sort of struggling there. So a lot of action taking place here as, oh my god, they're going 3 wide. But Duki also doing his bit of holding on to the position. So clearly the hard tires here really making it difficult for the guys up front. I'm sorry, for the racers in general. And I'm really struggling to keep a track with all the action that's taking place now. Hershey's just sort of fallen a little behind. Probably it's because of the battles with Flash. But still, nevertheless, seems like there's a lot of action, and I'm just gonna go ahead and ensure that I'm not leaking out on any strategies, because every time I jump onto the replay mode, it tends to showcase tires and fuel as well. We've got a bit of a battle brewing up again between the top three. So the top three is really doing everything in their power to ensure that the guys at the back don't get any footage. But nevertheless, now Hershey's is immediately under attack from Flash there. Flash makes a jump, but he's picked up a penalty here. And what's happened suddenly? Rahul, I'm sorry, I think Rahul's had a bit of a moment. Oh yeah, Rahul's gone wide as well. What's happened over here? I'm surprised. Let's just be with Rahul. It seemed like he had a comfortable lead, just going a little wide. So are those mediums now starting to give away? I think he's probably, okay, he's picked up a penalty. He's gone completely wide there. Oh dear Lord. As Flash and Hershey's, that's the reason why they've got the jump. Now, did he lose out more positions? No, he didn't. So in that, Flash also making a move for P1. As Advancify now thinking of making a move down the inside. So what are we looking at with Advancify? The top four are now getting closely bunched up. It seems like these mediums are slowly but surely starting to give away. I'm sorry guys for this disturbance, but I'm going to have to do this again and again. Now with these guys picking up penalties, they're going to be a little more vulnerable to Advancify and possibly Pleb as well. Advancify will have to be careful in ensuring that he does not ram into them and gets a clean pass there as Flash holds on from Rahul. But look at that, this immediately invites Pleb into the mix as well. So I think the top 5 now getting a little closer, and you can see Pleb gaining just a little bit of ground now to the guys up front. So I think the mediums are slowly starting to give away. Abdus has moved up to P6 from Modi Guarantee, but he is also under attack. So Modi Guarantee thinking about a move there, but decides the better of it. So he will have to ensure that he's being patient. But look at that fight. Vishal's now made a move up to P8. Duki's moved up to P9 as he makes a move down the inside. They are qualified, and he's got Askas and Midget battling it out for the final set of positions. So let's just look at what happened here with Duki. So okay, so they went 4 wide, and that's how they ended up. And Duki getting a bit of a nudge, and Midget also going slightly off track there. These guys are sort of struggling on the stars, but I think the hards now getting into life, getting into temperature, and sort of showing their performance at this point. As Duki now decides to attack, Flash is again moved up to P2. So I mean, I'm just really not being able to keep a track what's going on over here. So probably the medium still showing some sort of life, but I'd like to be here with Pleb now, because Pleb is right on the tail of Advanced, who's also picked up a penalty. So Pleb will be happy with that. Now will Advanced get a ready service penalty at this point? No, he thought about it, goes defensive, but Pleb with that toe will make a clean move. Advanced thinking about diving down the inside. Pleb possibly getting a better exit, and yes, he does get the jump. So Pleb will want to be ahead at this point and ensure that he is not restricted by Advancify, but Advancify will not make it easy. We know Advancify can be someone who can be menacing. Decides to send it down the inside as he does, but Pleb sort of keeping it clean. Then Pleb will have the inside line. Will Pleb be able to hold it? They keep it clean, but just about going off. But still, now Pleb will again want to hold on to that inside line. This battle is not going to help Pleb, because in all of this you can see the gap growing to Hershey's now, and Pleb decided to jump. So an interesting mix in terms of strategy, as Plebs hide it with his hards there. So Modi Guarantee, if we are moving up now, will any of the other guys in the hards also make a jump? It doesn't seem like. I think everyone's gone ahead. So what's happening here? Why is Plebs? Okay, he's just refueling. Let's just be here with Hershey's till then. So this is going to be interesting. It's going to be a mammoth task now for Pleb to ensure that he gets the jump on everyone else. I'd like to see where is Pleb at this point. So he's about 26 seconds. Now will Pleb be able to gain enough time to make that kind of a gap up onto Hershey's, who is about 26.5 seconds in front of Pleb? It's going to be crucial, because you never know, maybe, just maybe, an undercut might be effective. Now Hershey's is also coming under pressure from Flash again. So if these guys end up battling, they might just end up losing that little bit of time, and just might help Pleb and all those who are probably getting in, deciding to make a pit stop. So we can see here that Flash is now right on his tail. So let's just be here and see. Now will these guys decide to jump into the pits? Flash is taking a slight bit later, but keeping clean, entering the apex properly. They both decide to stay out, and it seems like they're going to continue for another lap. But it seems like Flash isn't close enough to make a move, and probably Flash deciding that, let me just be in his toe, maybe try and just fuel save a little. And it does seem like these guys are looking at working it out as a pair. Now where's Pleb? Pleb is about 26.1 seconds, so the gap pretty much staying consistent here. So 11 laps, 12 laps on the mediums, doable task for Pleb. What about the others? We got Rahul in P3, who's not really gaining that much time, and he's gone wide. He'll pick up a penalty now from the looks of it, unless the game decides otherwise. But so far so good for Rahul. and I think he's just about escaped. So maybe the escape area for this particular circuit is a lot more lenient as compared to the others. Duki's moved up to P8. I did see some action behind. It seems like Plebs also moved up to P10 as Askas moved on to the mediums, and the gap now falling in. So Flash and Hoshi still sticking together and working as a team now. So I think they've realized that there's no point battling it out. As Hoshi's going wide there, having a bit of an understeery moment. So those tires, those fronts, clearly not wanting to turn in, and Hoshi will realize that it's probably that window for making the pit stop is coming in soon. Now will he decide to jump into the pits? No. So no one really responding to Pleb's move as such at this point. Rahul slightly coming under pressure from Advanced Fire, who is gaining ground despite serving that penalty. So I think he's doing a good job here. We've got Modi in P6, qualified in P7, who is now immediately coming under attack from Duki, and Duki definitely making those hards work for a longer duration as compared to qualified at this point. So maybe has Pleb probably made a mistake out here as qualified going really wide now. This is interesting because this is the second time that we're seeing that these guys are going wide, but there's no penalties coming into the play out here. So is there a bit of a hack that these guys have identified? And Duki definitely gaining, but I don't know, I'm a little perplexed by Pleb's move out here, but nevertheless Pleb has he seems like he's gaining ground, and Duki here is all over the back of qualified. Now will Duki decide to send it down the inside? So just be here with Duki. No, he is not that close enough. So he is gaining that additional bit of ground on him on the corners, but I think on the straights it's just not working out. But you can see Pleb's right there with them. Now where's Hoshi? He's gained a bit of a gap on Flash and still decides to sort of stay out, and the lap time is also seemingly good. Let's just have a comparison. So 142.9 for Hoshi versus a 141.5 in the previous lap. Now where does this put Pleb in that dirty air? Is that really going to help him? Widget making the move, or Widget going defensive? Sorry, I thought probably Widget deciding to enter the pits. Modi and Diaz enter the pits as Widget immediately makes way for Pleb. So it seems like Widget knowing that there's no point battling it out, and Duki also letting Pleb through. So it seems like the Millenials have just decided, you know what, we're all going to work this out together, and Duki realizing that it's best to be in Pleb's toe because he will be able to attack Qualified better, and you can see Qualified really taking advantage of the exit area. So probably the race directors might see that as a potential penalty coming his way, and Pleb will want to ensure that he clears Qualified really soon. Now we might just see Pleb make a move on Qualified, maybe on the straight that's going to follow the chicane, because Pleb will be on fresh tires, and you can see the amount of ground he is gaining, and Duki will also want to be a part of it and ensure, as Qualified also decides that it's sensible to let Pleb through, and Duki pulling off Fernando Alonso's move. Now will he be able to do it? I do think that there's going to be a battle, as Qualified doing everything that he can to defend that. That was simply fantastic. Let's just have a look at that again. That was simply wonderful to watch. Pleb was clearly lining up a move. So Pleb is doing his bit and gaining that ground. And on Qualified here, as you can see, as they just about clear the chicane and they start going uphill here, the amount of traction difference, as you can see, the mediums are absolutely dead for Qualified. So he just had no traction whatsoever, and immediately lets go of Pleb, not wanting to give him a toe. Pleb keeps it clean. Within this, we got Qualified who goes in defensive and does a good job despite with having absolutely worn off fronts. He does a good job in holding on to P7 here. So as he enters the pits, Hershey's is now back under the attack. So 143.5 for him versus a 142.8. So that battle still helping Pleb gain about 8 tenths. So Pleb in that clear air now will want to make the most of it and ensure that he's got a good gap on everyone else, and you can see that gap is coming down. But now the interesting point here will be that while these guys are yet to pit, they're gonna be on way more fresher tires, and this could potentially put Pleb in a slightly riskier position. Now, will he be able to save his tires, or has he got this figured out in terms of just keeping a gap wherein by the time they attack, these guys will be further away? What would you guys do at this point? Would you guys want to pit now and then get onto the attack, or maybe pit later and just sort of leave it to fate and hope that Pleb just slows down? As Advancify has made a move, and Advancify immediately jumping into the pits. Rahul also enters the pits. So now we're going to see Pleb get a bit of a jump on these guys, and it will be interesting to see the kind of ground that these guys gain. Yes, no doubt the interesting point will be that while Pleb is on the mediums, and we can see that for 11 laps, and while these guys in the 12th lap, they're still doing in good lap times, and just we can see that the lap times are falling by almost about half a second to a second. So we can see the comparison for that matter, that Pleb's almost 2.5 seconds faster. So he is gaining, and he's gone a bit wide there. So Pleb will want to ensure that he doesn't compromise his tires in any way. As Duki also, now where is Duki? Duki is about 26 seconds but yet to make a pit stop. So Duki doing his bit of gaining as much ground, but still clocking in personal best and matching the same time as the mediums. But definitely losing a lot more time in the initial processes. So now Flash, I think his tires are completely done, and you can see that he's just not being able to gain any time. Abdus on P3, and just as I pan the camera on him, he goes wide. Now will he pick up a penalty? I'm not sure, but he has definitely lost that additional bit of time. This gap though has been very much within 21 seconds, so his Pleb now being a little more conservative and saving his tires, knowing that he could potentially be under some form of attack. And you can see the cars are so understeady, but these guys continue to stay out. Could it be a possibility that maybe these guys are wanting to go for a no stopper? I mean, we'll just find out in some time. Very gutsy, really gutsy. I think the lap times look good. It's not like the lap times are really something where Pleb seems like a threat. So just about 6 tenths of a gain there, not enough for Pleb here. If Hershey's can pull this off, then we are definitely looking at probably one of the most genius moves there, which could maybe bring in victory for the Gen Z. And this would be one of the most craziest finishes. As I pointed out earlier, this is something that you just don't want to, it has to be unpredictable. It could be a mix of anything. What about Duki, who's also, he is losing time on those hards there, but still not really being able to make those kind of strides. So I think I'm just going to shuffle between Pleb and Hershey's from time to time unless I spot some racing at the back. But from the looks of it, Modi Gandhi is having a bit of a squirmish moment, and just as I pulled on qualified, unfortunately that I won't call it a commentator's curse because I didn't really catch it. Now will they be there? Oh, they just saved it there. So Pleb now sort of deciding, okay, it's high time that he needs to attack. And will Hershey's now make the move? Hershey's does jump into the pit. Okay, so this is interesting. The fuel is something that's not helped him. Now where is it with Pleb? This will be crucial. This particular, I'd like to treat this as an absolute flyer. I think, are we looking at a potential fast lap here from Pleb? Could this be the fastest lap? What is the gap that we're looking at? Look at that refueling speed. Oh, that is painful for Hershey's. He will not be liking it. Oh, and this gap will be big enough. probably for Pleb to defend for the next 5 laps. Abdus though, where is he? He's still got a nice cushion of about 11 seconds. Hershey's does come out. Where's he come out? He's come out on P5. Widget still having a bit of a squirmish moment. Wow, what do you make out of this particular instance here? I'm not sure what the particular regulations are, but clearly Pleb, knowing that he's pulled off something here, I don't want to jinx it for him as well, but Pleb representing the Millennials, he's got 2 Gen Z's ahead, and Flash is also struggling, but he's still doing a better job with those mediums. His lap times were definitely much better as compared to Hershey's, but is he losing time? Yes, he is losing almost 2 seconds in the process. So Pleb deciding that it's time to put the hammer down and absolutely go for it. And you can see the times are simply tumbling, and they're tumbling big time. 5 laps to go. The time differential being about a second and a half per lap. 5 laps. If Flash can continue with the way he is, then he can maintain it. Now Flash also decides to enter the pits. Fuel definitely coming into the mix here. Will Abdus also enter the pits? Yes, he does. So Pleb now with that 16-second cushion probably has done enough to hold on to P1. Will Duki be entering the pits? I won't be surprised if he does, because he's also yet to make his pit stop at this point. Pleb taking P1 back, so that early pit stop seems like it was a massive undercut. Where is Hershey's? Let's keep an eye on the gap now. Will Hershey's, has he pulled off the undercut here? I'd like to be here with Flash. Flash just coming in behind Widget, so the undercut definitely working very, very strongly here. And look at that gap, he's 15 seconds behind. That's just crazy. Yes, Flash just giving a bit of a nudge there to Widget. Where's Duki? Duki's 10 seconds behind, and that sort of gap to Hershey's is falling. So Hershey's probably, if Duki still, though he's continuing to clock in his personal best, we're just going to jump back to Widget and Flash. Flash will not be happy with the fact that he's behind Widget. He will want to make sure that he makes a move on Widget soon, because he's definitely on the fresher tires, and probably on this particular straight we might just see Widget make his move, because it's very evident that he's on the fresher tires, and you can see Widget trying to make his car as wide as he can, going ultra defensive, but Widget jumping down onto the inside line and will probably make a move now and will want to keep it clean. Will Widget Flash be able to hold it? Widget going, maximizing his exit, trying to get the best possible run on Flash, but it seems like Flash has done just about enough to ensure that he clears Widget, because he will want to ensure that he catches on to Hershey's really soon. Let's just quickly look into that as well. As you can see out here, Flash with that fresher set of hards, and Widget with those worn out hards doing everything that he can. Sorry for that, but you can see out here that he's done just about enough. Dives down the inside, and just like that makes a move down the inside and secures P4. Nice clean move there. So let's just go back to our leaders here. Pleb picking up a penalty, but he wouldn't mind that. I like to see the gap between him and Hershey's. It's still 15.5 seconds, which was 14.9 in the previous lap, is now moved up to 15.5. So those hards versus the worn out mediums of Pleb. And what about Duki here, who's sliding his way? He's really fighting it out as much as he can, but he will probably come under attack from Hershey's maybe in a few laps time. Now I'm not sure if Duki is probably wanting to pull off an adventurous no stopper, and we've got some action brewing up between Rahul, who at one point was looking strong at P3, has moved down to P8, so clearly this race not working out for him, but he is right at the back of Abdul. So let's just be here with these guys. Probably might see a remake of the same move. Abdul's not being able to do enough here to be in the toe. Abdul's maintaining and sticking on the racing line. Now will Rahul decide to send it? He's close, but thinks the better of it. but just like that, Abdus having a bit of a compromised exit that doesn't put him in the best position, and Rahul just like that secures P7. Will he be able to hold on to it? I think so, he does. But Abdus surprisingly with the freshest set of tires, probably cold tires, not being able to help him there. Let's just look at that once again, as Rahul was lining up those moves from quite some time, but he knew that the best is to just stay behind Abdus, thinking about making a move down the inside on the chicane, but he knew he'd be vulnerable by providing that slipstream to Abdus. So deciding the better of it, keeping it clean, staying right behind. His tires definitely more warmer, I must say, and just like that, still staying within his toe. Look at that slipstream effect there. I think he's given a bit of a nudge, and that's probably why Abdus had to break that additional. So the stewards might be involved into this particular race, and they might get back into the action altogether. Rahul slides his way back, and he will not be happy with that penalty. Now where's Pleb here? Pleb's got a 15-second gap on Duki, who is immediately under attack. Duki's going to be defensive. Now will Duki be able to do enough? Duki will want to make sure that he makes Hershey's life absolutely miserable, because Duki is doing this for the Millenials. He's playing the team game here. I don't think is really bothered about his results, and Hershey's fighting his way as much as he can. Duki doing whatever he can in his power. Now will Duki be able to send it? He does think about it. Duki is like the Lewis Hamilton here at this point, or the Carlos Sainz, I must say, but I think that's all that Duki can do, because those hards are pretty much done, and he is also pretty much out of fuel. So we might just see Duki jump in the pits. So no, he still decides to stay in there. So I'd like to have a look at what really happened here, as we can see Duki was just completely under attack. And you can see Hershey's trying to be well within his toe. Duki trying to hold on to the inside line as much as he can, and Duki could only do so much with those compromised tires. And you can see the traction difference. You can see the difference in the exit speed that Hershey's had. So much more advantage, and he could carry so much more speed onto the corners. Both of them, though, respect to them that they both kept it absolutely clean, and there were no nudges in the process, and that was respectful racing right there, and that's how Hershey secured P2. Now, with just 2 laps to go, Hershey's had a massive task of catching Pleb and pulling off something as crazy as 17 seconds. But you can see Pleb's tires are absolutely done. They're toast at this point. So this could maybe just be a bit of an advantage, but 17 seconds is no joke, and you can see Duki just losing all that possible time. So let's just quickly look at the grid. We've got Flash, who's now soon gonna be sniffing a potential podium position here. But you can see even in terms of fuel, he's not that different. It's only about tires, but if there is that condition of mandatory tires, then Duki is probably looking at a potential penalty on himself, unless we miss out on the penalty. And you can see the difference there. Flash all over the back of Duki, as Duki trying everything he can in his power to ensure that he does that. And it seems like Duki is going to enter the pits. No, he does not. Duki is just being defensive. He's going to be as defensive as he can. Flash will want to make a move down the inside and then probably pick up the inside line onto the next corner. He does so, and just like that, textbook overtaking there by Flash, and will want to now hold on to the inside line again to ensure that Duki makes no move, and that was as clean as he gets, and Flash just like that secures P3 from Duki, who had those worn out tires. And we can see out here, you can see the gap between Flash at this point was quite severe, but Duki's tires, those worn out hards, just not giving him the traction that he wanted. And you can see with every corner, Flash is gaining almost 2 tenths, and right here he's right at the back of Duki at this point. So just like that, Duki doing everything he can, but he knew that this move was absolutely inbound, and there's only so much that he could do to defend his position. And a nice clean set of rather I'd say smart overtakes by Flash here to ensure that he secures his podium, and just like that you can see that he secured P3. So Great set of moves here. We've got Pleb here who's on his final lap, and he just like that probably will secure a sensational win for the Millennials, for himself, and a massive congratulations to the Millennials, who at the end of the day show that it is experience that counts, and it is experience that helps you outsmart these young guns. But kudos to Hershey's for doing everything he can in his power to upset. He'll be happy with P2, and Flash will be extremely excited. What is happening? Oh, just about makes it onto P3, and Dookie, if there's no regulations, gets P4. Advance 5 with that penalty, finishes P5. Widget will want to be within a second, and yes, he does get the jump. He gets P5 from Advancify. Rahul finishing P7. Modi Guarantee, finishes P8. Modi Guarantee finishes P9. Vishal in P10. Askas in P11. And Coldified will wrap up the grid in P12. What a sensation. Coldified also just decide, you know what, that's frustration right there. What a drive by this man. The best of India, Ancient Pleb. There's just something about him. He's the GOAT when it comes to the Indian sim racing scene. He is the GOAT when it comes to Gran Turismo. This man is absolutely legendary. I'm going to take you guys to the results. Ancient Pleb doing everything correctly here. Pole position, fastest lap, and a race win. I'd call that a grand slam for this particular League of Generations. And congratulations to the Millennials on winning it. Hershey's with that amazing P2, and Flash with that P3. Dookie, as I mentioned earlier, if there's no penalties coming his way, then he has jumped the entire grid on that no stopper and has managed to jump 7 places to finish P4. Widget with finishing P5, he'll be happy with that. Advance 5, because of the penalty, fell down to P6. Rahul in P7, Abdus in P8. Modi Guarantee will not be happy with that. I don't think this was probably one of his races that probably suited him. So Vishal in P10, Askas P11, qualified in P12, and just like that, folks, we've had an epic race. The League of Generations has come to an end. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this amazing battle that took place. This was fun. I'm absolutely honored to have had this opportunity to commentate for these races, and a massive shout out to Galaxy and Eng for pulling off this amazing tournament. And stay tuned, folks, we're going to have many more tournaments coming in. Enjoy your Sunday. We'll keep you posted on the next set of races and leagues that will be coming in. Till then, have fun, enjoy your races, and I'd hope to see a lot more Indians get into the A and the A plus categories. So cheers, my friends. Good night.